Greetings, welcome everyone. I'm Jed Shlackman. I'm a holistic counselor as well as a spiritual energy healer and hypnotherapist. In this video I'll be speaking about the topic of eating disorders and focusing specifically on anorexia, which is really one of the more well-known eating disorder diagnoses, and it refers to a pattern of restriction with eating. I want to focus kind of on the holistic view of this, really looking at some psychological, social, spiritual, and archetypal themes that are being reflected in that pattern. So I'll be reading from a couple of books that are essentially mind-body healing encyclopedias in a sense, that explore these mind-body connections, the psychological underpinnings or origins of particular problematic patterns or conditions that people are experiencing. First, I'll be going into the book Metaphysical Anatomy, and this is by Evette Rose. So in this book you'll find many different physical and psychological issues, and looking at the mental, emotional, spiritual aspects of these patterns. So for the topic of anorexia in Evette Rose's book, let me read what she shares as an explanation for factors that are very commonly present. Certainly each person is individual, so you won't find all of the same common themes or descriptions for every person, but these are common, and if you're dealing with that particular diagnosis, you would want to really explore if any of these patterns are present. So in Evette Rose's book, she says under anorexia, for emotions, you don't believe that anyone would ever think you are beautiful. You feel there is always something wrong with your body, and you will go to extreme lengths to correct it by cutting off food intake. This could be due to a childhood where you were exposed to excessive criticism by influential people, shaping you into becoming who you are. You often feel like a failure who is not good enough. You do not feel accepted by those closest to you, leaving you with a great deal of emptiness. In comparing yourself to others, you raise your personal standards to often unrealistic goals. When you fail to reach these lofty standards, it only reinforces your low self-esteem. The result is that you feel unworthy and do not respect your body or your needs. You often find a positive gratification by controlling your hunger, as it's the only aspect of your life that you feel you can control. You may be quite stubborn when it comes time to change routines or old habits. Your destructive patterns are your way of making a statement that you want to be able to exercise your own ideals, goals, and dreams. You want to be in control of your own day-to-day life. You are uncomfortable in your own skin and choose to hide behind a stern facade. You may be full of self-loathing, so you reject your own needs. This creates a pattern whereby you attract people to your life who also reject and ignore your needs. The way you are treated by bullies is often a reflection of the way you treat yourself. Ancestral trauma related to famine, poverty, and starvation might have been triggered. It's also important to explore womb stages, as your mother might control her own food intake to control her weight. This might be an indirect result of her need for control over her environment. So, key points here are feeling disconnected from your role in life. You seem to feel that you don't fit in anywhere. Explore further possibilities with that. Trauma related to feeling out of control. Who made you feel this way? How does being out of control make you feel? Explore possibilities with that. You have made a negative association with love. Your need for love may have been met by rejection, abandonment, verbal or physical abuse, or harsh judgment. Explore how this made you feel. Feeling uncomfortable with your body. Why? Who made you dislike or feel uncomfortable with your body and appearance? Was it because of a comment, bullying, or abuse? Trauma related to feeling out of control and disempowered. Explore the fertilization for the mentioned key emotions. How do you feel when you are so skinny? What is the benefit of it? What do you want to who do you want to punish by starving yourself? What emotion or feeling does it give you that you cannot feel in your life without the anorexia? Explore the womb stages. Did your mother eat enough food during her pregnancy, or was she keeping an eye on her weight? Explore this more in terms of how your mother felt about her body and weight, and also how her emotional needs were met during her pregnancy. How did that affect you in utero? Trauma of not having enough self-worth due to lack of approval from the parents. Did you receive enough nutrients from the placenta? Your emotional needs are not being met and you feel that you have to fend for yourself. How does that make you feel? Feeling unprotected. By whom? How did this lack of protection make you feel? Were you starved of nutrients and emotional comfort in utero? Always explore your birth trauma. There is no universal standard for being perfect. A person's idea of what life is and should be is always different than someone else's. Perfection is subjective up to each individual's perception. People are all perfect in their own right. Everyone has admirers and people who look up to them. Sometimes you can get so caught up in trying to fix something that you forget there are others looking up at you as a role model as well. So that's from Metaphysical Anatomy. And we're going to look at one other book that covers similar themes. This one is called Problematic Patterns by Michael J. Lincoln, Ph.D. And for anorexia, he has here the quotation marks, "I hate me." They are suffering from extreme fear, self-revulsion, self-rejection. They feel incapable of meeting the demands made on them. They feel it's completely unsafe to be themselves and totally unable to please their mother in their head. They are attempting to remain a genderless child as an act of appeasement. They systematically deny themselves the right to life. They have episodes of intense desires to die due to their utter self-disgust, severe emotional deprivation, and emotional starvation. They have a desperate need for emotional nourishment, unconditional acceptance, and loving affection that is creating a severe emptiness inside that's demanding satisfaction. They are attempting to starve the emptiness in the hope that it will go away and demand less. Their emotional needs are experienced as just being too great to live with. They feel nagged at, crowded in upon, and disallow their own identity. Their mother made it crystal clear that any form of neediness or self-commitment, self-development and self-empowerment would lead to ultimate and lethal abandonment. They are, therefore, trying to prevent sexual maturity and growing up, and they demand exaggerated control of events. They are trying to be, quote-unquote, pure, non-physical, strictly mental, and etherically spiritual, and a systematic refusal to grow up. So again, that's Michael J. Lincoln's Problematic Patterns book. So that's his somewhat more succinct way of describing this theme that would often underlie anorexia. And that brings us to the question of if these themes are there, what can one do about it? How could you treat or approach recovering from that? And part of it has to do with your social environment, with your family, the family system, but then it's the internal part of how you feel about and perceive yourself. So it's your relationship with who you are, how you feel about yourself, how you see yourself, your own core beliefs in a sense. What do you believe about yourself and yourself in relation to others, to the world around you? So there are some good suggestions, particularly in the Metaphysical Anatomy book, about things a person can explore in their own self-reflection, and then also processing the past. How were they treated as a child? How did the experiences in utero, in the womb, the mother's emotions, the mother's interaction with her own body, with her eating habits, how did all of that coalesce? And realizing that we each have the power to transform, to break free of old patterns and old habits, to see ourselves differently, to feel ourselves differently, to look at our lives in a different way than we might have previously done so. So to learn to be content with yourself, with your body, open to change, open to receiving, to nourishing yourself, to valuing yourself. So there are many different issues there to explore, but once you are more aware, more conscious, then you can take steps to make changes to shift what you feel within your body, within your heart, within your consciousness. So for those that are interested in a holistic view of different health concerns and spiritual growth and personal development, I invite you to view other videos I've done on these types of subjects. You can also visit my website, which is phinsights.com. That's phinsights.com. For now, I want to wish everyone a wonderful day. Namaste.